Yo, we back for another episode. We're at Close Podcast, having dope conversations in comfortable settings. I'm here with my guest, my brother from another, reporting live from Israel, Mr. Jab Camp himself,
Coach.
Mr. Shooter, Mr. Gave Pittsburgh all in buckets, Jared Armstrong. What's up, Jared?
What's up, my man? Thanks for having me, most importantly, but always a pleasure speaking with you.
No, most definitely. I know we cutting it a little,
Go back
cutting
a
it a little
long
tight.
time.
Yeah, cutting it a little tight. It's crazy how our thing is through our moms and us not even
For
knowing it.
sure.
You know what I'm
For
saying? So
sure. Yeah, yeah,
our biggest fans. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But let's go get right into the first question. Recording this live on Christmas Day. Uh, tell me when you got introduced to the game of basketball.
Man, age of 3, my mom was a hooper. So,
Hmm.
I was at the time living in Maryland and
Hmm.
she put a basketball in my hand. And from there, it's been, history. She taught me how to shoot. People don't even know that. She's just got inducted into the Hall of Fame in Philly. Her and her AAU basketball team was the first women's to play AAU in
Hmm.
Philly.
Hmm.
So and they called the Follow Lakers. So she was the person that really, gave me the game and gave me the drive and the motivation, the ambition to, chase your dreams and do what you want.
No, that's love. That's love. Mom Duke's definitely a real one. Like I say, that's our biggest fans together. So
For sure.
tell me about your upbringing, your household. Your upbringing.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm baby of 4 kids. So, I get the "you spoiled," comments all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, I grew up as in the suburbs originally. Both of my parents are originally from Philly, and then once they got divorced, we moved back. So it was kind of a culture shock, because I never, grew up in the inner city. I would play basketball in the city, but I didn't, grow up there, which is different. Going and play basketball and then going home in the suburbs is different than, being there 24/7. I ended up moving to North Philly, and then, from age 12, to now, I just had the average, lifestyle, just playing basketball. I would play basically come home from school, I would go to the pile. A lot of Logan Legends would be in there, Flip Murray, Tony Chenault, guys like that. And I was like the only
Mm-hmm.
young kid that was allowed to play with them. So I really got to
Mm-hmm.
experience at a young age, being around pros and, guys that played at a high level. And then at the age of 15, same, I started, being around John Salmons, the Moore brothers, Ronald and Chuck Moore,
Mm-hmm.
all those type of guys. Rest in peace to my man, Raheem Barry, all those type of guys that were pros and played at a high level.
Yes.
So that's kind of where I gained all my knowledge from. And then, played in college at Slippery Rock. And then after that, this is my third year playing professional basketball. So just truly been a blessing to live out my dream. Now it's just doing that and trying to inspire the next generation to tell them, you can be anything you want in life. It's just what you put your mind to.
Um, Speaking on your career, um, tell me about like some of your toughest battles, like in your neighborhood coming up. As a young pup, as we call it, some of your toughest battles. You're playing with pros, but like with some of the people around your age, that was good competition for you.
I always give credit to guys like Shit Austin, Lamar Kimball, um, other guys that were playing against me probably on a regular basis was that was also considered, top dogs in the area. Every
Mm-hmm.
person that was, considered that, ended up playing high level Division 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I always give credit to what was due. Those were, good matchups for me and guys I played against. I didn't see them often, but because I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
on the circuit, but those two guys that I always highly respected growing up and playing against them.
Did you play middle school basketball in the city?
Yeah, so I originally went to a school called uh,
Mm-hmm.
Young Scholars Charter School, and I was the only sixth grader that was ever allowed to play eighth grade because you was only allowed to play seventh and eighth grade. We had a good
Mm-hmm.
season. My backcourt mate was Tajir McCall. He was in eighth grade. He was already like 6'4", 6'5", and I was like the short midget. I was still wearing goggles, so I was
Mm-hmm.
super super raw and uncut. And then I moved over to Jesu School and I played there for 3 years. Guys like Malik Tyndale was playing with me. and some other guys, Mark Tyndale's little brother. So,
Yeah.
I always give credit to where it's due. We had 3 great years together. Um, we ended up going to the championship 2 out of those years, lost to guys like Jaquan Newton and Troy Harper, all those guys when they was at St. Ignatius. So we played really well, had a good coach, but we always came up short at the end.
So going into your high school, what high school did you go to as leaving middle school?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, coming out of middle school, I had a lot of interest from a lot of schools.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they're not supposed to recruit, but obviously we all know
Uh,
schools
that's a
recruit for
recruiting game.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I was actually going to go to boarding school at St. Benedict's in New Jersey, and then
Yeah,
the
legendary,
coach, yeah,
legendary.
the coach left like at the last minute. He got a coaching job. The coach I was supposed to be there, and I just happened
Mm-hmm.
to be at a Pangos camp, and I was playing really well. And a coach from a school called Christopher Dock, the school I ended up going to, was there, and he was like, "Hey, we love to have you. We're rebuilding the program." The coach at the time was Kyrie Irving's dad, like one of his teammates and best friends. So I ended up going there, and I always tell kids like, go where you're wanted, not where you're
That's a
needed.
fact.
And this was like a big situation for me because it wasn't, recognized as a basketball league, a basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
After my first year, we ended up going to, not only a championship, but we ended up going to districts. Going to that championship, we got a new coach, and I was able to score 1,000 points in 3 years when I was there. So, one of my things was just always telling players, go where you're wanted. If you're good, they're going to find you. You'll get the recognition that you deserve, but create your own lane. I see a lot of kids that go to these powerhouses and then it doesn't, pan out for themselves. Go where you
Mm-hmm.
can create your own legacy. So that's why I felt what I did at Christopher Dock. And, my senior year, I ended up transferring and going to a military school called Fort Union Military Academy.
That's where
It's
you graduated from.
historical. That's where I graduated high school. And
Okay.
then I ended up going to Mount Zion Prep, which we ended up being probably having a historical year. We went 30-5. We was ranked number 5 in the country. And, we had 9 guys go Division 1. So we had a really, really good team, really, really good coaches. And, it was just a great learning experience through the journey.
What were some of your toughest adversities you faced throughout your high school career? Was it the
Yeah,
adjustment from going from here, or going to a military school? Like, what was one of some of the toughest adjustments you had and adversities you faced?
yeah. I mean, for me, it was really just, I wouldn't say adversity, it's just always just keeping a good mindset. I think a lot of guys, including myself, you go through this career and you're not pleased where you're at. And, that's one of the things I wish I could go back and just really enjoy the process. I would say my biggest adversity was when I was in prep school. A lot of people don't know I was born with a foot impairment called torso coalition, and after
Mm-hmm.
prep school, I had some big schools that were looking at me. I wouldn't say they offered, but one school was Kansas State, and I had a friend that was there, and he was a point guard at the time, and he was basically wanted me to come there with him. Had a recruit that wasn't going to be there, and I had a foot repairment surgery, and that ended up me going to JUCO and not getting an opportunity to obviously live out my dream to play at the highest level. So,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I would say that was my biggest piece of adversity. But I think during the process, I really enjoyed it. And I wouldn't regret it or change it because it just made me a stronger person in the end.
So, besides your foot injury, what colleges did you have recruiting you at the time?
Yeah, so I mean, I came down to 4. The biggest one was Kansas State. I also had Wisconsin, and they all kind of weeded out. I had Iowa. They were also looking at a point guard late during the summer. Wisconsin ended up taking Travis Trice's little brother. They
Mm-hmm.
went to go see him a weekend before they was going to go see me, and he ended up
Mm-hmm.
signing that same weekend. And then same thing kind of happened with the Iowa situation. And then lastly was K State. They basically wanted me to come on a visit. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, the coach was Bruce Weber, and I wasn't actually physically able to do so. I wasn't cleared by the doctors to start playing yet. And this was, I remember, it was July 4th weekend. So ended up more in August taking some visits to some JUCOs, and then going from there.
Okay. Okay. So what school did you end up committing to? And how
Yeah,
did you
so
go about that process? How did you go about that process of deciding that was the right
yeah, I
school
mean,
for you?
I think I could have made a better decision as far as taking my time. I felt like being young, I was just such in a rush to just say I was committed. So my first year, I
Mhm.
ended up going to college of Central Florida, which was considered a powerhouse. Some of my teammates, one of them went to Auburn, one of them went to Wisconsin Green Bay. That point guard went to UNF, University of Northern
Mhm.
Florida. So we had a really good
Mhm.
team. And then I just felt I wasn't getting the opportunity I deserved. So my sophomore year, I ended up going to Butler Community College in Kansas, which was a total culture shock being in the Midwest and the weather, the people. But I really had a good season. I shot the ball pretty well. So after that, I basically decided to weed out schools. I had like 30 Division II offers. Like I remember my coach would just call me and be like, "Hey, this school gonna call you today and offer you," and it would just be like that constantly, constantly, constantly. Um,
Mhm.
and I just decided to stay home and go to Slippery Rock and play in the PSAC. It was respectable league, one of the top leagues in the country, and
Mhm.
be able to be close to home. And all my career, basically, I was far away. The last 3, 4 years from Mount Zion or Fort Union to College of Central Florida to Butler. So I wanted to be close to home and be near my family.
Mhm. So that was an easy decision for you to make to go to Slippery
It
Rock.
was. It wasn't. I was choosing between them and Chestnut Hill. Chestnut Hill coach had
Okay.
come to see me work out, and I like killed the workout. Like I barely missed, and he offered me
Mhm.
basically on the spot. And I basically told him like, "Hey, I'm coming." And then I had like a meeting with my parents, and it was like, "Hey, it's about the best situation as far as on the court and off the court." And I actually reversed the decision. The coach was super upset, and I ended up going to Slippery Rock. This was like late August. I had to be to school in 2 weeks, so I ended up making the decision late, and then I had a good career there. Broke some records. We actually was one of the top 25 my junior year. We had the record in the school for 15 game win streak. So had a good
Mhm.
career there, and obviously just had the aspirations to keep playing and you know play at the highest levels.
Who were some of your teammates there at Slippery Rock with you? Show them some love. Give them a shout out if you can remember.
Yeah,
I know it's been so
yeah,
short
yeah,
ago, so short ago
yeah.
for you. But yeah.
uh, I mean, we had 9 Division I transfers my junior year. Guys like Nerlin Gerald, John. His name was John. I can think of his last name. Uh, we used to call him John Wick because he was a 6'6" shooter. And he had came from the Division II national champions. A guy named Julius. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, my memory isn't great on their names right now, but if
Mhm.
you show me a roster, picture, I could probably
One of
tell
my.
you. Yeah, point
Got
them
you.
out name by name. But
I
we
got
ended
you.
up having a great year. My senior year was a little bit rocky. I went through some
Mhm.
adversity, but it just taught me a lesson that maybe God wanted to teach me, and that I can get back to the next generation.
Um, what was like one some of your biggest games in college? What some of your biggest moments?
The biggest moment for me was obviously playing against the Division I schools. I always felt I could play at that level. I had a great game against Pittsburgh, great game against Ryder, both statistically and percentage wise. A lot of guys will play these Division I games and they'll say, "Hey, I had 20, but shoot 8 for 22." I was actually super efficient, shot 50% from the three and very high percentage in the field goals. And Jeff Cable gave me a big shout out and gave me some
Hmm.
flowers after the interview, saying,
Hmm.
how talented he thought I was. And then the biggest game I think of my career ever was I had a 40-point game in college off of one missed shot. And that was, I made 16 field goals in a row before I had my first miss. So obviously it's like a once in a lifetime thing, but I think that was my biggest game in college for sure.
I said, who's that against?
It was a expedition game, but you know me, I'm like, man, I get to lace up my shoes and play. I don't
That's a
care who it
fact.
is.
That's a fact.
But it was
That's a
an
fact.
expedition game, and I was like, man, listen, I didn't even expect to have 40, and
Mm-hmm.
it just happened, to be honest. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember
That's love.
I
That's love.
think I could have had 42. I had a wide open layup with like 10 seconds left. And my coach was like, no, no, no. And then he
Mm,
saw the stat sheet in the locker room. He was like, I wish I would have knew
damn.
you had, 40. I would have let
Yeah.
you lay the ball up. So
Yeah.
it's funny one.
How it feel like being in that zone? Like you said, that 40, the basketball is like the hoop like an ocean. You throw a rock in there, everything going there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't even know. To be honest, I don't even remember, how I felt warming up. I was
Mhm.
just out there to kill, and that's kind of just what I did. It wasn't really, how you feel or anything. It was just for me. It was just, this opponent, just somebody in front of me. Let me see what I can do. And the rocks just kind of fell. Man, I made every three, I think, for in the first half. So that's when my mind was like, okay, you're on fire today. Like, keep shooting, keep being aggressive. And that 40 was
Mhm.
off the bench too. So I only played 26 minutes or something. So it was a very
That's super
limited time.
efficient. That's
Yeah.
super efficient for 20 minutes. All right. So you done? You done Slippery Rock? Got your degree?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yep, I got a degree
Uh,
in fitness management. I wanted to be a business owner, so and I love sports, so just trying to use basketball to make me some money.
I know that's right. So now you at that crossroad. You done eligibility up. Your next step is you want to go over the water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Tell us about that. I know I was a part of that process
yeah, yeah,
of that thing
yeah. It
going
was
on
a
for you.
journey, man. Yeah, it was a
But
journey,
but
man.
tell but tell the folks, the hardship that you faced. First of all, we got hit with COVID. That's a whole nother ball game.
For sure.
But you could tell the people about that process with you.
Yeah, it was a rocky moment. It really taught me about number one life, but number two
Mhm.
about how you have to learn how to pivot. Even if it's temporarily. So for me, it was COVID. Obviously, it was hard to get jobs. Nobody was really knowing what was going on in the world. And
Mhm.
luckily, I had a gym across the street from my house, the old Crystal Ray High School, and the pastor would let me use the gym, which was a blessing in disguise. So I was able to, start training kids number one, and then number two, be able to pretty much work out anytime I wanted. So I
Mhm.
was really working out there with Marcus Green, a legend around the
Mhm.
world. Everybody knows him for the shorts he wore at St. Bonaventure.
Mhm.
But
Yes, the capri shorts.
yeah. So I'm doing that, and then obviously I'm going through a citizenship process, trying to get my Israeli citizenship. So
Mhm.
I'm just really don't know where life's going, but I'm just grinding it out every day. Just persevering and putting the work in and just letting God take care of the rest. And it was a really tough time, I would say, but I learned so much. Not most importantly, not about myself, but about how to deal with adversity, how to cope with
Mhm.
adversity, and how to push through and persevere. So
Mhm.
most importantly, I would say after it was 2 years pretty much of my career that I didn't play. Number one, because of COVID, and number two, because the whole citizenship process. But it was really a blessing, I think, in disguise that made me a better person, made me a better man. And, I can always use that story to not only motivate myself, I mean, honestly, it motivate millions of kids, from me being so much in the news and the papers through that whole, journey. I remember being in one story I got is I remember I was in Israel, I was living in Tel Aviv, and this was like towards the end of my process, and I didn't have a team. I'm just living there, and a guy I always give credit to, Joey Lowe, was helping me stay in Israel.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I wrote a tweet. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going to happen, but I ended up writing a tweet, basically saying like, God, I trust in you. I don't know where life's going, but I believe that I'm going to play basketball again. Like I believe I'm going to be a professional athlete. And I wrote that
Mhm.
like March 22nd, 2022, and June 28th, 2022, I got my citizenship. In 3 months, I was playing basketball. So it's just tells you about faith and how you have to be able to
Okay.
believe.
Mhm. Where you signed your first contract in Israel? What's the name of your team?
Yeah, so originally when I came out of college, I signed a 3-year deal with a team called Paul Haifa that was in the Winners League. And then after my whole process, I ended up going to a team called Maccabi Rishon Lezion, which is a big club that used to be in Euro Cup for my rookie season.
That's love. What was some of the biggest things you faced during your rookie season? How was that adjustment from playing in America to
Yeah,
playing professional basketball?
man, it was rocky, because I think everybody comes from college and think they're the man, and then you're there, and some games I'm playing, some games I'm not, and I'm
Mhm.
killing in practice, and I start really understanding the business of basketball, the business side, that sometimes it don't got nothing to do with how talented you are. So for me, I
Mhm.
just always like I said, just stayed the course, just kept putting the work in. I remember always talking to a good friend of ours, Bilal Ben, and he used to just
Hmm.
always tell me, like, bro, stay in the gym, just stay in the gym, stay locked in. Your opportunity
Yes.
gonna come. And during that year, we went through
Yeah.
three coaches, and my opportunity came in the playoffs, and I ended up playing super well. I took us to Game 5. Obviously, we didn't win, but we were basically almost being swept. And then the new coach that came, gave me an opportunity. I won us 2 games in a row, and that
Mhm.
actually got me my next contract. My next
The
contract came
stock
from
went up.
the my next contract came from the team that we lost to in the first round of the playoffs.
That's tough.
Yeah,
Stock them rolls up. That's what I like that. I like
yeah.
that. So finishing out that year, like your rigorous off season. Can you tell the people? Um, Sorry about the background. They opening Christmas gifts.
Oh yeah.
Christmas Day. Can you tell the people about your off season workout, your off season training? Like what would it consist of? On your day to day.
Yeah, I mean, now that I own a company and a brand, I try to get everything done early. So I'm typically up at 5, and I'm a yoga guy, so I always do 6 a.m. yoga, and I try to get on a court right after that because I'm already loose. Or if I don't get a chance to get on the court right after that, I go straight to the weight room. So it's basically yoga, court, weight room, or yoga, weight room, court every day. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So I'm working about 5 days a week, and the 2 days I take off, it's mostly massages. My guy Johnny, shout out to him, or
Shout out
getting
to John.
stretched with my guy Mario. So it's
Shout
really
out to
just
Rio.
taking care of my body, or putting the work in. It all comes together as one. So
That's like they say LeBron put $1 million to his within his body. What would you say your number is?
that number is definitely undisclosed, but it's damn sure not a million. I can tell you that, but it's definitely undisclosed though.
Yeah. Dang, I thought I had the secret right there. I thought I was gonna get something out there. Dang. Uh, all right, so transitioning to your second year. Um, some catastrophic hits over there while you there.
For sure.
I'm gonna let you go into detail about that story, but about that part. But I know when I got the news, it was like I got to check on my brother. Make
Yeah,
sure
for
you good over
sure.
there.
Yeah, yeah, for
Because
sure.
that's something we see on TV, but you actually be able to be there and experience it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell that part of the story while you was
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, my second year, I was playing in a city
like,
called Ashkelon.
yeah, like I want
Yeah,
you to like describe the morning, the afternoon, and whenever it took place, how it was when you realized what was going on.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I was playing in a city called Ashkelon. If many not familiar, it's basically like 8 to 10 miles from Gaza, so not too far. And I remember the morning because the day before we played a game, and we came back, and the next morning I got a call like 6:30 in the morning, and I was looking at my phone. I'm like, why is my coach calling me? We just won like a Saturday, which is Shabbat here in Israel. The day of rest. Like, what could he want 6:30 in the morning? So luckily, I just picked up and answered. And he was like, "Hey, Jared, listen, I know you never lived in the south of Israel where near Gaza is, but there's gonna be some rockets and bombs that come in. Like, just stay in your. It's called a mamad here in Israel, which is basically like my room is a bomb shelter. So if it was to hit the building, like my room won't be impacted. It keeps me safe." And I was like, "All right." I didn't really think much of it, so I go out my room,
Mm,
get breakfast, and then next thing I know, I start hearing sirens go off. And then after the sirens go off, I start hearing, kind of the apartment shake just from rockets that were landing kind of close by. And then I looked at
mhm,
my phone during the midst of everything. I saw that
mhm,
basically Israel was under attack. And during that time that they was under attack, they were attacking neighborhoods and villages that were close by me. They're called kibbutzes, basically. And I would say like 9 o'clock, a rocket hit right across the street from my apartment. And at that point, I was like, man, I gotta get out of here. Like, I'm from Philly. Like, I gotta get out of here. I can't stay in here. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I went downstairs. I'm knocking on my teammate's room. He in there sleep, and he got company. So I'm like, man, what we gonna do? So me and him end up basically going to the living room. basically negotiating between each other, like, hey, what you want to do? What you want to do? I'm like, man, I'm from Philly. I don't got no gun. I don't got no strap. Like, what you? We the next city over. So if they come here, we dead. So we really
That Philly
just took
came
a
out of you. That Philly
we
came out of you. Ain't
definitely
got no good.
we basically took a chance. We took a risk, and we was like, hey, we gonna go up north near Tel Aviv. That's where all the safety was. They were saying was safe. So we ended up going to Tel Aviv. I ended up staying with my man, Shad Fiante Watkins. I ended up staying at his house. We basically played house together, me, him, and my teammate, for 5 days. We going to the supermarket, cooking food, cooking breakfast. We all taking turns, and then after 5 days, the country was still in the shock, so we was trying to figure out flights because the flights were all canceling. And then from there, luckily I got a last minute flight. My travel agent got me a last minute flight to LA, and I was able to go stay with my brother for a few days before I came back to Philly.
So doing all that chaos, like how was your mental? Where was you at? Where you at mentally? Because where we from,
Yeah,
it's
for
automatically
sure.
like survival mode. But you being
No, it
away, and then
definitely.
you seeing your teammates being so calm, they calm as ever. And you like, yo, dog, they bombing. Like,
Yeah,
so like, what was
for sure.
how was your mental going through those times?
It definitely was in survival mode. But I think more importantly for me, it was like, damn, I don't know why I felt like this, but I was like, damn, man, I gotta tell the world what's going on. Like from my perspective, from my voice, from my point of view. So, basically started doing interviews while I was there, like just telling the world like what's really going on the grounds, because everybody has their different news outlets, their different voices, but it's nothing like the source, nothing like somebody that's actually there. And I just wanted to share my truth, so what was going on, and just obviously seeing all the horror and evil that went on. It was just my opportunity to tell, like, yo, look, this what I see, this how it is, and I hope we can all make the world a better place. So obviously survival mode was the biggest, but the biggest thing for me was kind of just speaking the truth.
What was some of the things that your reach was limited in a source in a sense. What was some of the things that you did to give back or to make people feel okay through everything? Some of the things that you did. I know I could say it, but I want you to say it.
What you mean as far as?
Like the camps and everything that you was doing. So
Yeah, I
at
mean,
the
listen,
after the bombing and everything happened, after the bombings and
sure.
everything with the war is going on, some
Yeah,
of the
for
things
sure.
that
I
you
mean,
did to for
yeah,
civilization over
yeah.
there.
No, for sure. I mean, I think the most important thing was when I came back, I saw the faces of the kids, just being at the games, and looked like they lost hope. I know that a lot of kids, especially here, love basketball, just not only here, but all around the world for sure. So, through my company, I just wanted to give back and basically, be a difference maker. So I started basically just doing monthly clinics one time every month, and it really just blew up. One thing turned to another. We end up starting with 70 kids, and it got bigger than that. And it was really just my way to give back and, show my token of appreciation for their city opening their arms to me, but most importantly, to give them some hope and inspire the next generation. So, I started with that. One thing, like I said, led to another. By April, we ended up building a court that was named after my foundation, that kids still use today, which was more not so for basketball, but to build a framework to help, rebuild and restructure the community and bring kids together from all different, backgrounds. People don't know where we built the court. One side of the court is like the hood, and the other side is like where people with money live, and we was trying to basically bridge that gap to bring those kids together through the game. So I think the work inspired them. I still get picture mail from kids
That's
using the
dope.
court, but most importantly it was just using the power of sport in the game to inspire the kids.
Being over there, have you faced any type of discrimination or anything
uh
you going through? I know you was having a hard time, with your
for sure.
citizenship and proving everything, and then you became very outspoken So now
For
you like
sure.
a, I'm saying not saying a target, but have you experienced any discrimination? And if you want, if you can, if you want to, if you want to elaborate, you can elaborate on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think during my situation, with fighting for citizenship, I think just like any other country, there's racism everywhere. I don't think there's no racism in Israel, but I think during my situation and my fight, there was definitely discrimination and racism, in it. I've said that plenty of times. But other than that, truly not really. People accept me for open arms. I think the irony of the situation is, I fought to be here and now I'm, an outspoken leader for the community and, for people in general here. So, I think most importantly is showing people that, sometimes it's your own people, and when it is your own people, it's either you're gonna, fight it or, say they won. So for me, it was bigger than myself. The racism that I felt I experienced was, for my family. What if I have kids that want to come live here or other family members that I do have that live here? What if they want to, use my name and those guys, all they remember is, oh, that was just a kid that wanted to come here and play basketball. Like he really wasn't one of us. So that was kind of just my vision of that it was, more so bigger than me.
Um, Besides the camps and clinics and things, what have you done over there to like embed yourself in the culture over there in Israel?
I mean, for me, I'm still struggling with it. I'm just a homebody. I mean, now that I'm, most importantly injured, but obviously, just being around, being in the community, just most importantly, just trying to help people. But I'm still, trying to figure that part out. I mean, even me, when I'm home, I'm either in the gym or in the house or, maybe with a few friends. I'm very low key about everything. So I'm still trying to embed myself for sure. People always ask me if I don't know how to speak Hebrew. Still trying to figure all that stuff out. But for me, it's just, I think the most important part is using the game. And that's my way of, embedding myself, to help the kids and, helping the next generation of hoopers.
How do you balance, you know, your professional career as well as your nonprofit, your business, your brand? How do you balance
There is
all of
none.
that?
There is none. You know,
Mm.
I mean, I tell people all the time, like I'm up some nights till 12, 1 in the morning on Zoom calls, making business transactions, doing business. I don't, for me, there is no work life balance. Like you either figure it out or, you know, I tell people all the time, some of the most successful people in the world, text me back in 1 minute, and it shows you just their tenacity and their, ambition to get things done. And I'm just one of those guys. Like I'm just a big guy, as you know, just to get shit done. I don't care what time of the night it is, what time of the day it is. If it's business, like, and I have the opportunity to, get it done, and I'm not going to say, hey, let's wait till tomorrow, because I just believe tomorrow isn't promised. So I just always just try to live my life. You know, I don't have a balance. You know me. I'm either in the gym or now it's just doing business. So whether it's doing business at 4 in the morning, I've done that before, or being in the gym at 2 in the morning, I've done that before. So for me, it's really no work life balance. It's doing what I have to do to get things done.
Okay. Um, Now, like you said, you face with an injury right now. What have you? What did you What part of your body did you injure?
Yeah, so like about a month ago, I was playing and unfortunately I slipped on the FIBA league, the league sticker. So I dislocated my ankle with some torn ligaments, and then I fractured my fibula. So I'm about a month and a half from post surgery. Actually, hopefully start walking on the boot next week. But obviously it's up and downs of your career. Luckily, this is my first ever injury, and obviously just now just working harder than ever to get back.
How has that process been with you mentally? I know you over there. I must say by yourself, dealing with an injury, your first ever injury, um, and you had surgery as well.
Yeah, yeah, I had surgery
Yeah,
4 days
surgery and
after.
everything, post surgery. Yeah. So, how was that with you mentally, dealing with everything and all that by yourself in a whole other country in a foreign land?
I would say at first, obviously, you're always frustrated. I think for me, my mental's been okay because I know my injury wasn't, non-contact. It was just kind of like a freak accident. I slipped on something and I got hurt. Obviously, I think I would have been more frustrated and been trying to figure out questions and reasoning why if it was, I slipped. I mean, I slipped. I just was driving and my ankle tweaked. I would have been trying to figure out what some things I could have done better in the summer not to be injured. But I think for me, it is what it is, kind of how I look at it. It's just now how I respond to the adversity, how I bounce back. They always say a minor setback for a major comeback. So that's just my focus is obviously going towards the goal that every day I got a chance to get better. Every day I got a chance to, work on my ankle, get mobility better, and, try to come back stronger than ever.
So how are you attacking rehab? What's your mindset with rehab and what's your timetable looking like?
Yeah, I mean, every day is a chance to get better is what they tell me and how I look at it. Right now we're about 4 weeks from surgery, 5 weeks from surgery. So the biggest thing right now is just getting my mobility back in my ankle, getting and moving. And I think so far we've been doing good. I've been attacking it, having rehab twice a day. So I go in the morning and the afternoon. And then I do rehab on my own at night. So just, doing that is the most important. And then obviously once I start walking, it's just baby steps going to walking from walking on the boot to getting out of the boot, and obviously from walking to running. So it's just, I'm a baby again, learn how to crawl, learn how to walk, learn how to run. So the timetable they say is can be from 4 to 8 months, sometimes 6 to 8 months, because my injury was a little complex because I dislocated my ankle. So I have a metal plate and 9 screws, and then I have a cord that's keeping all my ligaments together, a wire cord. So it really just depends on how I respond. But I'm hoping, obviously I'm not, rushing, but my most important thing is to just come back, better than ever.
Having a positive outlook on it. I like that. I like that for sure. So now that you got rehab, I know most of the time as an athlete, our day revolves around practice.
For
I
sure.
know training, rehabbing. So I know rehab is only a few hours
For
a
sure.
day. So now, like, what's your day to day like now over there? Now that
Yeah,
you
I
got
mean,
rehab during your time,
for
but
sure.
now you got a lot of extra free time now.
No, for sure. I mean, other than watching practice and going to rehab, I'm executing business and business deals. That's kind of my focus right now. Outside of obviously being a game, but that's what I'm doing. I mean, I just closed one deal and working on another. So executing for summer plans for Jab Camp. Just trying to take everything to the next level is kind of where I'm at for 2025. Starting to try to get into real estate. So just different lanes, different avenues, but most importantly, just again trying to get shit done and trying to execute at a high level.
How has your little I'm gonna say little. How has your partnership? You got your shirt on. How has your partnership been with Reebok? They on the up and up now, and I think they're about to do some
No,
of the
for sure.
WNBA so far now.
I mean, we partnered last year. I don't know if the partnership will continue. I mean, we did some great stuff here in Israel last year. It was great working with them. Obviously, my first year with Jab Camp, and I hope as we grow and they grow that we may be able to reunite and do some bigger stuff. But I mean, it was a great opportunity in our first year, and I wish Reebok nothing but the best.
What's your mission for Jab Camp? What's your mission?
I think most importantly, just the polarization we see in the world. I think the biggest thing is to use sport to build bridges and combat hate and really just teach kids the game. I think what separates Jab Camp is the educational piece. I'm sure as you can probably witness and tell from your own career, you know,
Mm,
I wasn't taught financial literacy as a kid. It wasn't until I was
effects.
a pro that, I had to learn how to manage money, and
Mhm,
what to do with my money. It wasn't until I was a pro that I was taught nutrition, you know, and it wasn't until I was a pro that I experienced racism. So, I'm just trying to give kids avenue, from camp
mhm,
that, planting a seed for them that like, hey, listen, you want to
mhm,
play at the highest level or you don't, whatever you do in life, you have to know how to number one deal with
mhm,
racism in your work field or in life. You have to deal how to be healthy human being most importantly, and
mhm,
that's basically what you put in your mouth and how you treat your body, how you take care of your body, and most
mhm,
importantly, your financials. You don't take care of your money, you won't have a place to stay. You won't be able to take care of yourself or your family. So, I'm just
mhm.
trying to plant the seed and bring kids from different backgrounds together because as I'm sure you can do business with anybody from any culture. So the more people that you meet and that you encounter from different communities, the more likeliness that you can become friends and that you become brothers, at the end of the day, if you
Hmm.
build the right relationship.
As well. What are your short term and long term goals, both on and off the court?
Yeah. I mean, my goal on the court, obviously, as you know, just to build your career, as best as it can be. It's kind of simple as that. Trying to get to the highest levels, uh, play for the best teams here in Israel. Who some play in the Euro League, Euro Cup, Champions League. So that's the goal on the court. I think off the court would just be building my brand to as big as it can get and trying to impact as most kids. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we're trying to touch 100,000 kids across the world. And really globalize Jab Camp. So that's our goal, and make camp a place where kids can come and number one, build bridges, but number two, learn how to be a whole roundabout athlete.
Hmm. It's tough. Jab camp. If nobody has ever seen it on Instagram, it's amazing. Fun time, a lot of laughs. You get to live through the kids again. Definitely love being a part of it. I think will allow me to be a part of that too as well. Um, what's the legacy you hope to leave on your community?
Person that gave back, a person that cared about the next generation, person that wanted to lead a world a better place. I think it's really simple as that. Try to outlive what I lived and be able to do extraordinary things for extraordinary people.
What is there any projects you have coming up or any things you're involved in that's in like the near future or the future, but in the near future?
Yeah, I promised myself in 2025 I won't say anything until it's done. So until it's done, we do have some exciting projects that are definitely coming up. Working on renovating another court out here,
You know, we in
possibly two
2024, right?
courts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
know,
said
but
you're not gonna say in 2025, but it is 2024.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
This will
But
come out in 2025 though for sure. But
yeah,
got you.
so working on some big potential projects and obviously scaling Jab Camp. We're going to New York City this summer for camp, so
Mhm.
working on that with our partnerships and just keep trying to grow and expand.
How do you go about getting partnerships? How do you go about seeking brands? Do you see if their vision aligns with you? How do you go about picking like I'm just going to do this because it's Nike, I'm going to do this because it's Reebok, or I'm going to do this because we have like-minded things? How do you go about finding your partners?
Yeah, I mean, I think most importantly is, number one is you have to align with them and they have to align with your mission and really believe in what you're doing. So I think
Mhm.
that's the most important part for me is someone that really cares about, Jab Camp and what we're trying to do. And,
Mhm.
for me, it's not really short-term partnerships that I look for, but more so long-term, people that see the longevity in the picture because anybody can partner for 1 year. It's those 5, 6, 7 year partnerships that can truly make a
Mhm.
difference and you grow together and you see the impact. So that's kind of how I
Mhm.
seek brands is, not really for the name. It's just more so for the people and the vision that they see in us and how we can both, not most importantly, them help us, but how we most importantly can help them.
Okay. Nice interview going on. Not gonna keep you too much longer though. I know you busy,
Oh, you good.
and again it's Christmas. Um, uh, got two more questions. What advice would you give your younger self?
Just to be smarter, man. I think that's the biggest thing. Not work so hard, but work smarter. Uh, Other than that, that's pretty much it. Don't be emotional as far as, when things go, not in the right direction, it goes in a negative path. And
Mhm.
obviously, when you're young, you don't think like that. So it's just more so, I think, understanding that basketball is a business and that you have to treat it that way as far as on the court.
Okay. Last question. Well, I lied. I got two more questions.
Yeah, you good.
Another two more questions. What advice would you give to a young athlete aspiring to be a professional athlete, especially those who's facing adversity?
Keep going. The biggest thing I say is just keep going. Find what you're passionate about if it is basketball. And, biggest thing I would say is find a strategy, write out your workout plan. I think a lot of kids just go to the gym and think they're going to get better. Like, no, you can go to the gym and get worse. So, I think the biggest thing is just, figuring out a plan, what you need to work on and work on it. I think you see a
Mhm,
lot of players in today's game that you watched when they were 12, and by the time they're 16, 17, they didn't get any better. So I
mhm,
think the biggest thing is, most importantly, working on your weaknesses and making your strengths stronger. So I always just tell kids, if they are going through a piece of adversity, like, keep going. And my biggest quote for that is, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's the reason that professional athletes are the one percenters of the world. They're the guys that, really truly believed in themselves, had really self determination. And, that way, that's what made them, most importantly, different, I think, was the belief outside of the athleticism and the talent. So I think the most important thing is for the kids these days, so many of them want short-term success. They want
mhm,
short-term gratification, and they don't understand they don't understand the pain and the work that you got to do for years and for years. And it's the same thing in
mhm,
business and the companies, these people that you see, Nike, Adidas,
mhm,
they've been putting in pain for 40 years, and that's why they are where they're at. So I think kids have to
mhm.
understand that, success is not short term. If you want it long term, you have to continue to put in the work, on good and bad days.
All right. Close it out on this question. I want to know. It's a two-part question. Who's your top five? And yeah, and I know Mount Rushmore is four, but we're gonna go top five in basketball. Also top five in business.
Yeah.
So we can do the.
But
So we could do the. We could
yeah,
do the
yeah.
basketball first. Let's do basketball
No,
first.
for sure. I mean, that's very easy one. Kobe, Magic, AI. Um, these other two is tough, but those are definitely my top three. Michael Jordan, obviously, four. My fifth one, that's a nail one. That's a super tough one. I don't know who my fifth one would be, honestly, but those definitely, my probably LeBron to be the closest, but
All right. So
those are
you
my top
said.
five.
Hold on. So you said
Kobe,
Kobe,
yeah, Michael,
Magic. You said Magic. You said
Yeah,
Kobe, Magic, Michael,
yep, yep, AI,
AI for Philly, and
yeah,
and
and
LeBron. LeBron.
LeBron.
You feeling LeBron just for today, just for right now?
Yeah, LeBron for my fifth. No, I gotta give him his
Okay.
flowers for sure.
So who's your top five in business?
Mm. Don Peoples is one, biggest black
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, real estate guy. Steve Jobs. Um, Trying to think, probably Jeff Bezos would be three, just what he done over there at Amazon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Four and five is tough. I'm not there yet. It's too young, but those are my top three for right now, for
Okay.
sure.
You can take that. You can take it. You can accept that. But good episode, bro. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir. Anytime.
Getting this done with me. Christmas Day.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
over there, the time difference is crazy, but we got it done today over there in Israel. Appreciate you.
Always,
Speedy,
always, bro. Only a
speedy,
phone call away.
always speedy recovery.
Yes,
Make sure
sir.
I'll be checking in on you and make sure your mental and everything cool, man. I know
For
injuries is
sure.
tough, so
For
for
sure.
sure. All right.
All right, bro.
When is your date to come back to the States?
End of May, probably.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna get up
Yes,
with you, bro.
sir.
Love, bro.
Yes, sir. Always.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right, bro.
Yo, that's Rec Close Podcast. Having dope conversations in comfortable settings. Stay tuned for more episodes. Like, subscribe, share, get with us.